Good afternoon, folks. This is Robert Chappell with the wrong graphic. There we go. This is Robert Chappell, Executive Editor at Madison365 with your daily update for Wednesday. I almost jumped a day ahead there. Wednesday, June 2nd. Hope you're doing well. It's the first day, I think. I might be a little bit mistaken here, but I'm pretty sure that today's the first day that nowhere in the state has any health restrictions. I think it's possible that Racine County might still have or city of Racine might have some lingering restrictions. But I don't think so. I think we've all repealed basically. Dane County's ended this morning. Milwaukee's ended yesterday. So what does that mean? That means you don't have to wear a mask indoors. You don't have to keep distance indoors. Restaurants don't have to restrict capacity. Now, does that mean you can't wear a mask? No, you can wear a mask if you want to. Any business can require you to wear a mask, just like they can require you to wear shoes and pants and other things like that. So even if you decide not to mask up anymore, keep a mask in your pocket, because every business has every right to require a mask in their establishment, especially if you're unvaccinated. If you're unvaccinated, try to get vaccinated, please. But it's not over, right? Pandemic is not over. We'll talk about some numbers that have it looking pretty good in Wisconsin, but it looks good in Wisconsin, but it looks really bad around the rest of the world, which means it could, the way viruses work, it could turn around in a hurry. So we haven't quite beaten the thing yet, but we are now allowed by our state and county government to gather basically unrestricted as we see fit. Restaurants, I know a lot of restaurants are still trying to staff up, so they may not be open to full capacity. I know, for example, last night, we'll talk about Forward Madison in a little while, but there was going to be a watch party, and the bar where they're going to have the watch party didn't have enough staff to have the watch party. So restaurants and bars are still trying to hire and sort of build back up to full capacity, even though according to health restrictions they could have full restaurants. They don't have enough staff to do it. So don't get mad at your restaurants if they're still going to restrict capacity a little bit. It's up to them, right? It'll take. It's been a year and a half we've been like this. It's going to take a little bit. That mean, you can't just throw open the doors and everything's going to be normal again. It's going to take people a little bit to get used to it. I'm still fist jumping instead of shaking hands, for example, and that's probably gonna be my new thing. So things are ostensibly, legally speaking, back to normal. Does that mean that we're all going to behave the same way we did before? Probably not. So take it easy on each other. Be cool. Be kind. And we'll get through it. Okay, but let's talk about the numbers for today, which are pretty decent. 176 new cases today. And the positive test rate over the past 7 days remains at 1.7, which is great. Like, that's where we need it to be. If you've been watching this show for the past year that I've been doing it, year and a half that I've been doing it, I am relatively conservative on these numbers and on mask mandates and on, I feel like we should have been locked down this whole time, kind of, but for me, 1.7 is low enough that the lack of restrictions doesn't bother me, right? I know everybody who's pushing to get rid of all the restrictions back when it was 5 and 6%, that's crazy. 1.7%, I'm feeling good. If that goes back up over 3, I'm going to advocate for the restrictions to come back. But I don't think it will, because we have almost half of the state vaccinated, at least partially vaccinated, which is all it takes. If you get half the population partially vaccinated, you're going to start impacting these numbers. That's my understanding. That's what I'm hearing from the health professionals. So what that tells me is the fact that we do have almost half of the population of the state, and going on 70% of the population of the country, at least halfway vaccinated, that 1.7 isn't very likely to go back up to 3.0 or higher. It's probably going to stay below 3.0 now. But still doesn't mean we've eradicated the virus, right? At some point in the future, the World Health Organization will declare it eradicated. And we're not there yet because it's still really bad in a lot of the world. The pan in pandemic means worldwide. So, we talk a lot about Wisconsin, but we have to remember that, we're doing okay here. A lot of places in the world aren't. And we're going to have to still kind of pay attention to this as long as that's the case, right? But here, locally, it's good. Dane County, vaccinations are, 75% of us have gotten at least one shot in Dane County. Statewide, 47% have. No, I'm sorry, 48%. 47.9% have gotten at least one shot statewide. And we're now 42.1% have gotten both shots. So that's only a tenth of a percent higher than it was yesterday. Right? We did a great job early on. We were getting 64,000 shots a day. Now we're down to like 13,000 shots a day. Not great. We need to get more people vaccinated. But like I said, as we approach 50% half vaccinated, that's going to have an impact. And when vaccines are approved for kids below the age of 12, that's going to go up much higher because parents will, take their kids to get vaccinated. So, and that's coming in September, most likely. So that's good news. Andrew is quite right here that people left jobs in service and hospitality not willingly necessarily. And at this point, it's going to kind of be hard to go back to that kind of job. I could see a person leaving that job and be like, that wasn't that great of a job. But I see a lot of people who love those jobs and we're going to want to go back to them, but it's going to take a little bit. So as Andrew says, definitely patience needed. Rachel, thank you very much for the kind words. We're going to keep giving it to you, even though it gets boring at this point. The news is good. It's kind of the same every day, that's actually good. I mean, it's not fun to listen to the same thing every day, but at this point, when it's good news every day, even if it's boring, it's good, right? So I appreciate it. Chairman Andrew Schmidt, always right. Yes, Dan. Okay, so we will take a short pause here. We'll have more news. We'll have some Forward Madison highlights. I know some of you guys have watched those a few times, but I'm sure you'd love to watch them one more time because it was a hell of a game last night. And some more about some local arts stuff and other excellent news. So stay with us right after this word from UW Health. We'll be right back.
Here in the Midwest, community is important.
Having a healthcare system that's looking out for us,
that's actively addressing the racial disparities in healthcare is important.
When we can get good quality care, we can do more. We can achieve more.
We can be the kind of community we want to be, and that's really important.
UW Health. Remarkable medicine. Remarkable care.
All right, this morning on the website, Madison365.org, Naomi Wolf has a profile of Marquise Mays. His sixth documentary film is now making the rounds in the festival circuit. It was recently screened on BET. It's called The Heartland. It's a documentary about the unrequited love between teenagers and the city of Milwaukee, where they grow up, where the city does not necessarily take care of folks the way it should. Marquise is a UW graduate. He was a journalism student. In fact, I was kind of aware of him He's like finishing his EW career just as Madison365 was launching, and we were kind of looking around for black and brown journalists in Madison. He was a journalist in major, and it's something that I really identify with. When Tony Robinson was shot and killed 5 years ago, he had it's kind of this reckoning with like, how do I be objective? If journalism is supposed to be objective, how do I do that in this situation? And that's a thing that I wrestle with. It's a thing that the journalism industry is wrestling with right now. So I really respect that. And his at that moment, he kind of shifted into film, and he got his journalism degree and his film degree, and he's been making documentaries very successfully ever since. And Naomi talks to him not only about this film that's currently out, but about his background and all that coming to where he is now. So it's a really good profile. Naomi does a terrific job. So give that a read. It's on Madison365.org right now. Turning to national news, the National Oceanic and Atmospheric Administration, NOAA, is launching this program that I find really interesting. That they're going to map urban heat islands. It's heavily populated urban areas. I didn't know this. It can be 20 degrees hotter than outside areas, than other adjacent areas, and people of color are far more likely to live in those areas and be affected by intense, excessive heat, which can be very dangerous to your health. Now we are launching a couple of these. I'm going to have. I mentioned these before, that we have these two reporters, Kainala and Abi, who are going to cover health disparities in Brown County for the summer. We're going to introduce them on the show in the next couple of days. You'll get to meet them here. We also have a full-time health reporter starting in a couple of weeks, and so we'll be digging into some of those issues. So that on a national level is very interesting to me. So that story, we got that from CNN. It's on the website right now. We're going to talk a little bit of local sports now. Forward Madison, its third game in 7 days, following a trip to Georgia, where they won 3-1 on Saturday. And then a couple days later, just last night, they head over to Fort Lauderdale, Florida. We'll pick up the action here in the second half. Beautiful pass there from Aaron Malloy, finished by one of the marquee signings of the offseason, Jake Keegan, his third goal to lead the club in scoring this year. That would have been the seventh goal scored by Forward Madison. Every goal scored so far in the second half of their first 5 games. This one leveled the match at 1 in the second half. We moved now to the 66th minute. The pressure coming from Fort Lauderdale, and Phil Brino making another big save. He had himself a heck of a night and really kept Mingos in it. This is a tough one for Christian Diaz. The second half sub, trying to make the clearance, pops it into his own goal to give Fort Lauderdale the lead. You hate to see that. He had a great game otherwise. Really active up and on the right side, and just a little mistake here, which is unfortunate. Once again, another big attack here from Fort Lauderdale, and we'll see whose house it is. It is Phil's house.
Other side for Forward Madison, looking to keep this unbeaten start alive.
Derek Gebhardt getting involved.
We'll cross this in.
Off the crossbar for Keegan. Right into the goalie's arms for Allen. Big pressure late in the game from Forward Madison.
The woodwork denies him. Beautiful build-up play. Just that.
We'll take another look at that because it's worth it.
Have utilized it tonight. Gebhardt with a great ball across. Keegan under.
How that does not go in, I will never know. And here it is, Gebhardt again. Couple of nice passes right to Gebhardt. Look at that first touch. To his left foot and around and in the 85th minute. If that's not goal of the week next week, I will eat my hat.
Oh, that's a brilliant.
This is a mirror image of the game against Fort Lauderdale last year, in which Christian Diaz scored in the 85th minute to tie the game at 2. And here we go again, tied at 2 on an absolute banger of a goal. And that will do it. And the Mingos steal a point on the road. And now they are back in Madison on Sunday. I'll be there. If you're there, come say hi to me. On Sunday at 5 o'clock against Union Omaha. This is the first time that they will play a team for the second time. This is the first rematch of the year against Union Omaha. The Mingos are now unbeaten in 5 games this season. And they beat Union Omaha 1-0 last time out at Stevens Field. And I think we can definitely start the Derek Gebhardt for mayor campaign. I think he would get an awful lot of votes. But there will be some voting for him. I guarantee it. You watch next Monday or Tuesday, they will have the USL League One Goals of the Week nominees, candidates. I am pretty sure Derek Gebhardt might get his second one. That's all the news I have for today. I appreciate you sticking with me. Enjoy your evening. It's a beautiful one. And if you appreciate the news being free and available to you, consider making a donation. We are a 501c3 nonprofit, Madison365.org/donate. Throw us a few bucks and help us keep this whole operation running and for free for everyone. Thanks again. Have a wonderful evening. We'll see you soon.
This is 365 Media.